Next up, we have MITHRIL Resources and John Skeet, who's the Managing Director and CEO. Now, MITHRIL Resources, ladies and gentlemen, sit up, take some notice. These guys are working in Mexico, and I want you to understand that Mexico is a very exciting jurisdiction. John's going to share why, and I really think this is a very, very interesting area. John, welcome to the Virtual Gold Conference. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having me on.
Let's talk about this Copalquin mining district, because some of what you're doing at the moment is pretty exciting.
Yes, well, look, it's the first drill program that we've that's been undertaken by us in Mexico. There was some prior drilling by some junior explorers in the late 90s, but this is really the first serious modern campaign of drilling. We did our maiden built drill program last year. We completed that on time and on budget. We actually did a bit extra. We did about just over 7,000 meters of diamond drilling, and then we started again in January this year. And we've progressed considerably our understanding of the district, and we've now centered on a couple of important areas there where we're now getting some very good results and very good size to the structures that we're exploring.
So let's have a look at this area that you're exploring, John.
All right, so just...
Oh, yes, the important disclaimer. Read that very quickly, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so, and then, so I just like to introduce first, where the project is in Mexico, and really this slide is to highlight what a mature and well-developed mining industry is currently in Mexico. It's very vibrant. There's a lot of Canadian juniors and majors exploring there. It is a very prolific silver district all through Mexico, central Mexico, and then where we are is in the gold silver trend through the Sierra Madre Occidental mountain range. So all the way through there, you can see there's several multi-billion-dollar market cap North American explorers. Fresnillo, which is listed on the London Stock Exchange. They just developed the San Julian silver mine not far from Copalquin. And up there in the north of the trend is Grupo Mexico with the third largest copper mine in the world. And then, of course, over here at Newmont Gold Corp, a $64 billion market cap company who's currently producing gold and silver from the Peñasquito operation.
Yeah, John, sorry to interrupt you. Your market cap is 40 million, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right, yep.
And you are surrounded by giants who are market caps in the billions of dollars. Yeah. Is the area that you're in, I'd just like to understand how you came across, why this area, and is it along the same sort of structure? Are you looking for, is it mainly silver with high-grade gold? What's your understanding of why here?
It is a silver district all the way through there. So typically, on average, the silver to gold ratios there are around 50 to 100 to 1. Where we are, we've got different in the Copalquin district. We've got probably 50 different historic mines and workings that have been there since the mid 1800s. And so all the way through there, they do vary in their gold to silver ratios. We find that when the gold, when there's very high gold grades there, the silver ratio to gold is a lot lower. But generally, it averages around about 50 over the whole district, 50 to 1 silver to gold ratio. So we're fortunate that we do have high grade gold occurrences in the district, and we've encountered those numerous times during our drilling campaigns there. And really all these, a lot of these companies like, sorry, I just skipped the slide. If you look at Pan American Silver and First Majestic, those companies, they pretty much started in Mexico. They were junior companies, and they found company maker projects, and they just expanded from there, and they've been there, for the long term. So the MITHRIL team has worked extensively in Mexico over the last 25 to 30 years. Our chief geologist, Hall Stewart, has worked there since the early 90s, and he has a huge amount of experience in the district and understands these epithermal gold-silver systems very well. And also our board, myself, we've been working there since the early 2000s with Palmarejo, which was Bolnisi Gold, and with Cerro Resources that had the San Anton project near Guanajuato in central Mexico.
So you understand Mexico very well. And for those people that are a little bit, not concerned, but they don't really understand Mexico as a jurisdiction, is the government supportive of mining? Are there any challenges? Because I mean, I've been to Acapulco, I've been to Mexico City, loved it, and I found it very safe. Are there any challenges? Because some people will go, "Oh, Mexico, that's a little bit scary," but it's pretty good, isn't it?
It is. It's a great country to work in. I mean, I've loved working there the last 20 years or so, and I've never had any problems there at all. And of course, there's, like any country, there's different places, and you might go and you have to just be careful, and you don't travel at night in some areas, and you just, in big cities, you just you just stick to the well lit areas, just like in any country,
just like in Australia.
Yes, but Mexico is the mining is a resource rich country, and the Mexican government understands how important it is to the economy and the investment dollars that come in, and the job creation, and the taxes they collect from it all. They've got a good mature tax system there. It's fair and equitable, and the employees' rights are very strong. So the labour force is well developed, and there's a lot of geologists, a lot of professional people come out of the universities in Mexico, well qualified. So it really is a great country to work, and we've never been left wanting for anything there. A lot of contractors. Our drilling contractor is probably the best drilling contractor I've worked with anywhere, and they're doing a great job for us.
Okay. So the Coppelquin district, it's quite large, isn't it? Because it's a black dot there at the moment. For those people that are watching, you've done a very successful maiden drill program. That's finished. Where are you now with drilling, and what's next for the news flow?
Okay, so look, I'll just go to the next slide here. This is just part of the district. So it's 7,000 hectares or 70 square kilometers of area that's covered by mining concessions that have been granted by the Mexican government, and we have the option to purchase those 100% with our exploration work there. So these two lines that you can see there, they're like long sections. So like we've taken a slice through the property to look at where we've been drilling. It shows the point where the drill hole pierced the structure, and then a color coding which gives the approximate grade of what we intercepted. But this is probably the main area that we've got onto in the district. And the next slide shows the northern line, which is a bit shorter, but it's over 1 kilometer wide. And those dots there, those purple dots, are the very high grades that we've intercepted. So our first hole we drilled, we intercepted 3 meters at just over an ounce of gold per ton and 3,000 grams per ton silver. That was a very high grade intercept. Some people might think that's a bit narrow, 3 meters, but that's that's a good width to mine underground. And it's being particularly high grade means that the capital development cost for something like this to get a good production of ounces is very low compared to a big low grade type deposit. So we're looking for very high grade underground mineable resources here. So,
and for those that are listening as well, look, the higher the grade, the less dirt you have to move, the less cost there is. And so you're moving, the higher the grade, the better off. With John, in simple terms, that's correct, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, particularly with the capital costs, you don't have to build a plant that's capable of processing tens of thousands of tons per day. Looking at maybe 1,000 or 2,000 tons per day, and the capital payback on something like that with these high grades would be, we're always looking for something that's less than 12 months capital payback. That's a key for us. And then the next line through there is the main part of the deposit that we've drilled so far, and that slice is about 2.5 kilometers long. And you can see here again we've centered in on this what are called clavos, or high-grade ore shoots, and in there we've had a number of good intercepts. And these yellow dots here are the drill holes that we've completed recently, and those samples are in with the lab, and we're expecting results from those fairly soon. And then these blue holes are the resource definition drill holes that we're planning to drill over the next couple of months. So, but these orange and green and purple are the good drill results that we've received so far from the drilling last year, and then since we've been drilling in January this year. So all these magenta ones are very high grades. Hole 50, which we released back in March, we had just over 4 meters at over 2 ounces of gold per ton, and 444 grams of silver per ton. So we're very happy to see these extremely high grades, and we've devised our drill plan to continue to expand this part of the deposit.
John, has that surprised you to the upside, those grades that you're finding? I mean, because you've worked in Mexico for many, many years, so you know Mexico, you know the sorts of grades. But I'm just curious, as a potential investor, that is this giving you a bit of a smile on your face, these sorts of grades, or were you expecting this because of the district you're in?
Yes, we were expecting them. We're a bit surprised at how high some of the gold grades are in relation to the silver. So, in particularly in this Refugio district, or part of the district, but certainly we're expecting. We've done soil sampling, and we just measure sort of background levels of silver in the soils, and then from that we can determine whether we've got there's a good probability of some sort of resources down deeper. So, like over here at Los Pinos, we're going to drill that next month. And we had a very strong, when we sampled the soils on the grid pattern, we found some very high silver levels in the soils. And combined with the geology and all the mapping we've done there, we've identified this as being a very strong exploration target. And it was this one was a bit more difficult to locate in that method. But it was because of the historic mining that was all the way through there at Refugio in the late 1800s, early 1900s, that we knew that this was an important part of the district to be starting our exploration activities. So there was a multi-level mine that was developed there, and quite an extensive processing facility was built downstream from there. Back in the 1890s, everything was brought in by mule, and they were processing from the Engineering and Mining Journal reports. They were processing some very high grade material. So we were anticipating, to find these ore shoots. We're looking to find multiple ore shoots along the whole the width of the district there, and that's what we'll be doing with our systematic exploration.
John, when you talk about the historical mining, obviously no modern mining methods, were they just mining very shallow ore at that point and taking it out?
No, they were underground developments. As you can see there through that long section, you can see it's fairly steep terrain, and that's a couple of 100 meters from the peak there down to here. But from an exploration point of view, it makes it more challenging. But from a mining perspective, it was they were able to build multi-level mines, just taking advantage of the topography there. So they're just constructing tunnels going into the side of the ridges, and then going up from there and taking out the various mineralized zones that they found just from driving in with their underground adits.
So how did you come across this project? Because if it hasn't really had anybody on it since, the early 1900s?
It did have two companies do some exploration work. So there was one company, a Canadian junior, that did some exploration work at the late 90s, just when Briex fiasco occurred and the severe depression in the gold price. So they only did one campaign of drilling. They got some exceptionally good results, and that was part of the reason why we got excited about this particular project when we did come across it. And then there was another Canadian junior that did some work in the early to mid 2000s, and they got into trouble with another project they had that they were trying to get into production, and they went into receivership, and then that made the project sit there for quite a number of years with a contract registered on the concessions, and no one was able to really to do anything with it for quite some time. So by the time we came along, there was a bit more legal cleanup to do on the concessions. Plus, there was quite a bit of tax owed to the Mexican government. So we worked with the vendor who'd held the concessions for about 40 years or so.
Oh wow!
And he understood the value of them, and he wasn't going to let them go. So we through a mutual contact, we got introduced, and we worked with him and with our lawyers to work out how we would get this to a stage where we could put it into a public company. So that was all done at the private company level with our the predecessor, Sun Minerals, and then by the time we got it all legally sorted and cleaned up, we were then in a position then to get it into a public vehicle on the stock exchange, and then get some serious funding for the exploration program.
Is he still involved at all?
Yeah, he's our number 10 shareholder. So he participated in our second fundraising. So he put a lot of his own money into it, and he's one of our major shareholders now. So
oh, that's good to know. So he's actually put some funds into this as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So
so as far as the news flow goes for the next couple of months, we've got as I mentioned before, we've got these drill holes with where these yellow dots are showing there to come in. This will give us some valuable information as to how this structure is progressing to the west. Everything we're observing in the core is the minerals and the geology is showing that we're in the top of a large system, and it's in some of these areas it's telling us to drill deeper, and as we found here, we drilled deeper, we got better grade thickness. I guess if you multiply the intercept times the grade, that gives you an indication of the grade thickness, which is what which is on this scale here. So we've got a couple more holes planned down deeper, and then we've got some very deep holes which we're going to be very interested to see how they come out. So it's early days exploration still, but we've defined a significant system there that we're certain is going to lead to a good amount of gold and silver resources, and then we've got the whole district to explore. With this is just one part of it. We've got several other areas that look geologically as strong as this one, and as we're progressing the drilling, we're understanding more and more that this is a long-lived system, and there's been multiple mineralization events, and we just need to keep at it and keep getting the successes we're getting, and for the people in the market and potential investors to see that this is a good short to medium term silver gold play.
In terms of timing, and I often say this because we have a number of people on here. I mean, I know that Keith Good's watching; he understands all this, but we've also got people that are looking to invest and need to understand it a little bit more. So, in terms of a time frame and news flow, this is not, ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to be a short-term turnaround. This needs a lot of work to understand the geology around this. But what John is pointing out to you is that there is high-grade mineralization that they're finding, but there's a lot more work. So, John, if you could just outline sort of the time frame for the next lot of news flow for current investors and also potential new investors.
Okay. Well, look, we've got we'll be completing this next phase of our drilling during the next, probably by the end of next month or two, we're going into June, and then we plan to have a short break there of a couple of weeks while we get all our assays in. So over that period, over the next 6 weeks, we expect a good news flow of how we've developed this part of the property, and then for here we're looking to do a preliminary resource estimate. So it'll be largely an inferred resource estimate, but it'll give a a bit of a feel for the grades and the size that we've drilled so far, and then we will use that then to sort of look at how we're going to develop these other exploration targets in the district. So that will be probably about the middle of the second half of the year that we'll have that resource estimate come out. So so we've got really over the next three to 4 months, we've got some good news flow coming through from the project.
All right, John, we have run out of time. I've just realised I got so excited about your project. I realised that we are out of time, sir. Let's get that last slide so that we can get your contact details for people that are out there. If they want to get in touch with you, there's John's contact details. This will be up on our YouTube channel in the near future. John Skeet, thank you so much for joining us on the Virtual Gold Conference today.
Kerry, thanks for your time. It's a pleasure.